He's trying to get in.
He's trying to get in?
Yes.
Okay, make sure everything's locked.
Yeah.
I will.
Clear.
Pay attention to what's happening outside the house. It's early morning, and the street has been emptied without anyone asking questions. Patrol cars block both ends of the road, engines idle. Doors are open, but no one is moving. Now look closer. Behind the cruisers, men in heavy body armor are lining up, checking rifles, adjusting gloves, pressing earpieces tighter against their heads. No one is speaking loudly. Every instruction is brief. Every movement has already been rehearsed. In just a moment, they are going to advance. Notice the house they're watching. 2 stories, ordinary. The kind of place where families eat breakfast and argue over nothing important. It belongs to Farmington family. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. No broken windows, no shouting, no sign of what's happening inside. But everyone here knows the clock has run out. A sniper is already in position, breathing slow, rifle steady, watching the front door without blinking. Negotiators step back. Radios go quiet. Someone gives a signal with a hand instead of a voice. Inside the house, people are being kept still by a man they've never met, holding a gun that has already been fired once. In the next few seconds, one step onto that porch will decide who walks away and who doesn't. Stay with this, because everything that follows happens because of what the SWAT team is about to do. The man inside the house is named Joseph Anthony Manhard. He's 31 years old. At this moment, his objective is simple and dangerous. He does not want to be alone, and he does not want to be taken back into custody. Everything he does inside this house follows from those 2 facts. Joseph Manhard is armed with a handgun. He's under the influence of drugs, substances that have already been affecting his judgment for hours before he entered the house. His thoughts are disorganized, his emotions unstable, and his sense of consequence dulled enough that escalation feels natural instead of risky. Earlier that morning, before the standoff begins, police are already looking for him. He has been involved in a domestic dispute. Threats have been made. A firearm has been mentioned. Officers attempt to locate him, but he does not wait to be found.
So my brother, he's on the loose right now, and he threatened to kill his girlfriend a couple days ago. He just showed up at my house.
He leaves before anyone arrives, moving through neighborhoods without a destination that makes sense to anyone else. He ends up in Farmington, Utah. The house he chooses is not connected to him. He does not know the people who live there. There is no personal motive tied to the address. The selection is about access and opportunity, not revenge. The basement window is small, but not secured. That is enough. When the glass breaks, it is not loud enough to wake the entire house. The sound is sharp, brief, and then gone. By the time anyone upstairs notices something is wrong, Joseph Manhard is already inside. The first confrontation is fast. A resident comes face to face with a stranger holding a gun. There is no warning, no explanation, only a command to stay still and not scream. The gun is raised immediately, removing any doubt about how serious the situation is. Other members of the household are gathered quickly. Some are woken from sleep, others are intercepted as they move through the house trying to understand what is happening. Within minutes, multiple people are forced into the same room. They are ordered to sit on the floor. Phones are taken. The doors are blocked. Joseph Manhard positions himself where he can see everyone at once. He keeps the gun visible at all times. When he speaks, his sentences do not always connect, but the threat does. Outside, the first call comes in. It is vague, panicked, and incomplete, but it is enough to send patrol units toward the address. Officers arrive cautiously, aware that a firearm is involved, but not yet aware of how unstable the situation is inside. They do not rush the house. They take positions. They watch. Inside, Joseph Manhard's behavior begins to shift. The drugs in his system are affecting his perception. He talks rapidly at times, then goes silent without warning. He paces. He stops to stare at nothing. He asks questions that do not need answers and reacts as if the answers matter anyway. He believes police are coming for him, and he is correct. What he does not know yet is how many. Negotiators are called in when officers confirm that multiple people are being held against their will. The situation is reclassified. This is no longer a barricade. It is a hostage situation. As more law enforcement arrives, the perimeter expands. Streets are blocked. Neighbors are evacuated quietly, without explanation. The house becomes the center of a tightening circle. Joseph Manhard senses the change. He moves furniture closer to doors. He checks windows. He asks the hostages what they can see outside, then yells at them for answering too slowly. He talks about leaving, but makes no attempt to do so. Instead, he demands attention. Negotiators establish contact. The tone is calm. The questions are open-ended. They want him talking. They want time. Joseph responds sporadically. Sometimes he engages. Other times, he ignores the phone entirely. When he does speak, he focuses on grievances that are not directly connected to the people in the room. Names are mentioned that mean nothing to the hostages. Accusations are made without context. The gun remains the constant. Hours pass. Inside, the physical strain becomes obvious. People shift to relieve pressure in their legs and are immediately corrected. Someone asks to use the bathroom and is allowed only under direct supervision. The gun never leaves Joseph Manhard's hand. At one point, tension spikes. A hostage sees an opportunity when Joseph's attention drifts. The movement is impulsive, driven by fear rather than planning. The gun is grabbed. There is a struggle. A shot is fired. It misses. The gun is taken back. The aftermath is immediate and severe. Joseph Manhard becomes more aggressive, his voice louder, his movement sharper. Any illusion of restraint disappears. The gun is raised more often now, pointed directly instead of held low. Outside, that single gunshot changes everything. SWAT is activated. Snipers are deployed. The plan shifts from containment to preparation. Inside, Joseph Manhard is unraveling. The drugs amplify his paranoia. He becomes convinced that the police are about to storm the house. He talks about going outside. He talks about taking someone with him. Negotiators hear the shift in his tone and recognize it for what it is. This is moving towards an end. Back outside, the SWAT team prepares for the possibility that the front door will open. And when it does, there will be no room for hesitation. By the time the sun is fully up, Joseph Manhard has been inside the house for hours. The drug effects are no longer subtle. His movements are uneven. His focus drifts and snaps back without warning. He repeats the same statements, sometimes word for word, sometimes slightly altered, as if trying to convince himself they still mean something. He knows police are outside. He says it openly now. He asks how many there are. He asks what they want. He answers his own questions before anyone else can. The hostages are kept in a tight group. He wants them where he can see them without turning his head. He does not allow whispering. He reacts to eye contact. Anyone who looks at him too long is corrected immediately. The gun stays loaded. Negotiators maintain contact, adjusting their approach as his mental state deteriorates. They offer food, water, cigarettes, small concessions designed to slow him down and keep him talking. Sometimes he accepts. Sometimes he refuses, then changes his mind minutes later. At one point, he asks what will happen if he comes out. The question is not framed as surrender, it is framed as curiosity. He wants guarantees that cannot be given. He wants certainty in a situation that no longer has any. Inside the house, the atmosphere thickens. The hostages are exhausted. Muscles cramp. Throats ache from holding back sound. Time becomes distorted. Minutes feel longer than hours. No one knows how long this can continue, only that it cannot continue forever. Joseph Manhard begins pacing closer to the front door. This is noticed immediately outside. The SWAT team adjusts positions. The sniper tracks movement through the doorway when it appears in his line of sight. The front of the house becomes the focal point of every camera, every scope, every set of eyes. Negotiators hear a shift in Joseph's voice. His speech becomes more fragmented. He jumps between topics. He talks about leaving again, but now the idea has shape. He says he wants to go outside. He says he wants protection. He says he will not go alone. Inside, he orders everyone to stand again. The movement is slow and awkward. Legs that have been folded too long struggle to hold weight. He shouts when someone stumbles, but he does not fire. Not yet. He moves closer to the door, pressing hostages in front of him. He positions himself so that if the door opens, he will not be the first thing visible from outside. This is not accidental. Outside, negotiators recognize the tactic immediately. Human shielding, forced proximity, a narrowing window for resolution. They urge him to stop. They tell him to put the gun down. They offer to come closer. He does not respond in a way that suggests he is listening. The drugs in his system are pushing him toward action rather than patience. His paranoia sharpens. Every sound from outside feels like an imminent breach. He reaches for the door handle. Then he stops. For a moment, nothing happens. The pause is brief, but it matters. It is the last moment where a different choice could still exist. He turns back toward the room, shouting instructions that overlap each other. He points the gun at different people in rapid succession, as if deciding who will move first. Outside, the order is given to prepare for lethal force. The sniper settles deeper into position. His breathing slows further. The scope remains fixed on the doorway, waiting for the exact alignment that has already been discussed and agreed upon. Joseph Manhard opens the door. Light floods in. He steps forward with hostages close enough that their shoulders touch his chest. The gun is visible. It is raised. His finger is inside the trigger guard. From outside, the picture is clear. He is armed. He is using civilians for cover. He is not surrendering. The sniper tracks the movement carefully. He does not rush the shot. He waits for separation, for an angle that reduces risk to everyone else in the frame. Joseph Manhard continues forward. He does not comply with commands. He does not drop the weapon. The moment arrives without warning. A single shot is fired. Joseph Manhard is struck and collapses on the porch. The hostages fall away from him as his body goes down. They move instinctively, driven by survival rather than instruction. SWAT officers surge forward immediately. They secure the weapon. They pull people back from the doorway. They check for additional threats. Joseph Manhard is down and unresponsive. Medical aid is attempted, but the injury is catastrophic. He is pronounced dead at the scene. The standoff is over. The front porch is secured immediately after the shot. Officers kick the weapon away from where Joseph Anthony Manhard lies. They confirm he is no longer moving. No further threat exists. SWAT enters the house systematically, room by room, confirming there are no others armed, no hidden dangers, no additional violence waiting. The hostages, the Farmington family consisting of a mother, a father, 2 daughters, and 1 daughter's boyfriend, are escorted out of the house. They are alive but are shaken from hours in close containment, but none suffer life-threatening injury. Medical personnel take over. Each family member is checked for wounds, shock, dehydration, fatigue, and trauma. They are treated outside the home, steps away from where tactical teams still watch the scene. Officers collect every piece of evidence that might explain what happened. The handgun Manhard carried, the positions of furniture he dragged for hours, the devices he used while inside the home, and the drugs found at the scene that witnesses said he consumed. Everything leads to one unavoidable conclusion. When he stepped outside with a weapon in hand and civilians in front of him, the trained sniper made a decisive, split-second choice that ended the threat and freed the family. The perimeter slowly dissolves. Barricade tape is removed. Patrol cars pull back, and neighbors return to their routines hours later, not knowing what relief really feels like until it passes. Joseph Anthony Manhard is transported from the scene and later dies from his injury at a local hospital. The home, scarred with bullet holes and shaken walls, is given back to the family that endured the longest night of their lives. And here, after nearly 7 hours of tension, the ordeal comes to its end. This moment doesn't feel resolved for everyone. The family survives, but the memory of it lasts.